Okay, so we'll continue on with creating our block. And remember that a block is really just a collection of drawn objects, lines, arcs, circles, etc. Within the drawing, grouped together to form the named item. So just remember that. Just as well, will you kind of keep in your head that sometimes other CAD packages refer to them as different titles. So you'll notice in the book there on page 6, it refers to parts or symbols. I say to kind of remember that because sometimes it pops up in the City and Guilds exam that they refer to a part or a symbol, and you're kind of wondering what a part or a symbol is. We'll always be calling them blocks, so you need to remember that other CAD packages might refer to them slightly different. And the City and Guilds exam, being a sort of generic CAD exam, they sometimes throw in the word symbol where you're thinking block. So just remember, part, symbol, block, they're all the same thing. Okay, so let's get creating this little block. So I'm going to zoom into the block here. So this is going to be these objects here are going to make up our block. You'll notice I've left the center lines out. That's going to be sort of a deliberate oops that we forgot something. That's going to be part of our editing if you like, exercise for this block. So we're deliberately forgetting about the center lines. We'll add them in later. Okay, so up here on the home tab of your ribbon, you've got a block panel, and in that you've got a create block definition. So if you look there, we've got a block definition dialog box up when we click on that. Nice and easy as well as the keyboard shortcut B and return. It gives me the same block definition dialog box up. I'll just kind of move this slightly out of the way. Now, if we had a few other blocks in there, they'd appear in that little drop down list. We don't have anything yet, we're about to create them. So type in the name of our block. We're going to call this one nut. The base point, we could enter in the coordinates. We've got given coordinates there in figure 04, but if you've kind of done this already, you might notice that they're not correct. The coordinates are actually 1, 3, 5, 1, 30 and 0. If you've put them in and you've tried to insert in the block in, you might notice that your insertion points are way off. So slight error in the book there on page 7, figure 4. The y coordinate should be 130, not 105. So we could enter in the coordinates here if we like, but the easiest method of selecting your base point is to pick the point. So select pick point and snap to the center of my nut. Again, why did I pick that point? Well, you're kind of trying to pick the most logical point for insertion purposes. So when you're using this over and over again, where are you going to need to place it? You're going to need to know the center point, so you can kind of pop that into each location, and you can enter in maybe even coordinates. If I pick a random point across here, every time I insert it, it's kind of, I don't know where that point is, so it kind of makes it harder to insert the block. So you need to kind of think carefully about the insertion point or the base point of your block. It should be something that's relevant. Obviously it's easier in circular objects. In something like a rectangle, like a table, which corner do you pick? That's not so easy, but hopefully we'll look a little later on. You can actually insert multiple insertion points as well, so you're not just stuck with this one point. You can actually insert a few different insertion points and toggle between them. We'll see that maybe later on. So we'll accept that, and you can see 135, 130, not 105 as in the book. Then we come along and select our objects. So select my objects. Again, just going through this logically, select all the objects. You do remember holding the shift key down lets you deselect. So if you accidentally select all of those objects, hold down shift and you can deselect those too. Kind of quick way of selecting and deselecting objects in any selection set. So right click then when you've finished selecting the objects. You see I've got 4 objects selected. The book gets you to delete this one for now. Personally, I'd be saying to you select convert to block, so you'd have this one actually converted to a block and in position and ready to array. The book gets you to delete it to show you a few little things like the oops command and and also to give you practice at inserting the block at a correct location as well. But logically, hope you'd see that convert to block would be the one to choose in that, and 99% of the time you'll be selecting convert the object to a block straight away. Also, make sure you've got allow exploding on. If you haven't got allow exploding on, you won't be able to edit it later on. It kind of prevents it from being edited. So there's ways around it, but just for now, make sure that you've got allow exploding on. And that's about it. Then we're kind of click OK on that, and it's created our block, but it's also kind of disappeared the object from screen. You'll notice in the book it tells you to type in oops. So type in oops, and it brings back, what does it bring back? It brings back the objects, not the block. It just brings back the objects that made up the block. Now, we don't really want that one there, so I'm going to just delete all them objects. So oops just brings back the objects as they originally were, not the block. Okay. So now if I insert the block, so type I for insert, or we can select that little icon up there, but I'll type in I for insert. Now we've got an object here called nut. Where are we going to specify? We can specify on the screen, or we can uncheck that, and we can type in the same coordinates. I'll type in the same coordinates just to show you that in effect too. We could type in the coordinates. Scale is going to be 1, angles 1, everything else is okay. We're not going to explode it, we're going to just click OK. So make sure explode isn't checked. Click OK. And when I left click on that, look what we've got. We've got the grouped item, and you can see we've got one grip at the center where we've picked our insertion point, and that's our location point, if you like, for our block. If I double left click on it, it gives me a block, edit block definition. It tells me that it's a nut. Okay, so that's creating our blocks.